Hello and good morning. This is Absolute Value Review. This is 7.2. Let's take a look here. First thing you have to do is get the absolute value by itself. So you have to subtract 1 from both sides. So that's going to give you 3 over 2x minus 3. Absolute value is equal to 6. And then you want to set it equal to, you got two possibilities here. It's equal to it, or it's equal to a negative. So it's going to be a plus and a minus. And then you got to work these out. To work these out, you're going to go ahead and add 3. So you're going to get 3 over 2x is equal to 9. And then you want to multiply by 2 to get rid of that 2 down there. So you're going to get 3x is equal to 18. Divide by 3, and you get x equals 6. This one right here, you're going to go ahead and add 3, just like you did over here. And that's going to give you a negative 3. Then you're going to multiply by 2 because you're dividing by 2. That gives you a negative 6. You're going to divide by 3. And that gives you x equals a negative 2. So you have two answers here that will work. If you plug them in, you will get 6. Let's take a look at another one. This one right here is the absolute value is equal to a negative number. That's false. Absolute value is always positive, so this is no solution. Okay, you can't have a negative. All right, let's go on to this right here. Copy this one down. This one right here is a basic inequality, so you want to subtract 3. So you get 2x is equal to 2, divide by 2, and get x equals 1. That is something that you've always done. Now take a look at this one. You have two possibilities when you're dealing with absolute value inequalities. The first step is you do have to get it equal to 0. So you want to go ahead and add 2 to get rid of this 2 right here. So you're going to get the absolute value of 2x minus 3 is less than 9. That's your first step. The second step is, if you notice, this inequality is pointing towards the absolute value. So whenever it points towards the absolute value, you're going to write it as a compound. You're going to put this in the middle, and it's going to be less than a positive and a negative. And then you're going to work this out. Okay, so when it points to it, it's a compound inequality. And you're going to have a plus and a minus. So here you're going to add 3 to both sides, and that gives you a negative 6. And then here when you add 3, you get 12. And then you're going to divide by 2. 6 divided by 2 is going to be 3. When you divide this by 2, the 2's cancel, and then this is going to give you 6. And that's your answer. So it's between negative 3 and 6. And that's called a compound. Again, you have two possibilities. If it points towards the absolute value, it's a compound. The next one here, however, points away from the inequality. Okay, notice that this absolute value here is pointing away. So you got two possibilities. This one's pointing away. So the first one is going to be just drop the absolute value. So you're going to say 5x minus 10 is greater than 20. That's your first one. Your second one, you're going to switch this and write and change this. So you're going to put 5x minus 10 is less than a negative 20, and then you work it out. Okay, so you got two possibilities. One is where it points towards the absolute value, it's a compound, and one is where it points away, and then you write it the same way, and then you switch the sign and you write a negative. There it is. Here's your work for today. Right there. All right, let's turn our attention to geometry. All right, we've got to go over some terminology here because it's on the EOC, and apparently some kids maybe need to brush up on this. So look here. Before we begin, look up here at the top. If you put Algebra 2 honors from geometry, know that you're going to have a summer assignment and you'll have a test in the first week, okay? So make a point of that. All right, let's look at this definition. A point is a location in space. Okay, so let's say this is a plane, like a piece of paper, and we'll call this plane K. A point could be on that plane, so we could say point P. A point could be off of that plane, and we could say point X, okay? So a point is just a location in space, and there's no such thing as a skinny point and a fat point, okay? You don't have actual size. A point is a point. There's no such thing as a skinny point and a fat point, okay? So a point is a location in space. Now look, this Friday when I give you your homework, your 25 points for the week, I'm going to give you some definitions that you need to fill out, okay? So you're going to have to fill out that sheet. All right, so let's take a look here. A line extends in both directions without end, okay, and it's collinear. Collinear means they're all on the same straight line, okay? So it goes on in both directions, doesn't end. That's a line. A line segment is basically what I call it as a segment. It has two end points. 1, 2, it stops, okay? And then a bunch of points in the middle that are collinear. Okay, two end points. It's part of a line. A ray has an end point and it goes on in one direction. It's part of a line that has one end point and goes on in one direction. That's a ray. An angle is where you take one ray like this and take another ray like this and put them together. And when you put them together, you're going to end up with something called an angle. An angle here is two rays connected by a common endpoint called a vertex. Write that down. You need to know this for the EOC. All right, so to rehash, a point, there's no skinny point and no fat point. It's just a location in space. A line goes on in both directions. A segment has two endpoints. A ray has one endpoint and goes on in one direction. And an angle is two rays connected at a common point called a vertex. Kind of like your elbow. All right, let's go on. You were taught a central angle by me. A central angle is an angle that starts in the center of the circle and goes this way. So angle A, B, C is called a central angle. And the angle and the arc are the same. So if this is 40 degrees, this would be 40 degrees. Okay, today we're learning something called an inscribed angle. So write this down, number 2. This is number 1, number 2, inscribed. An inscribed angle is where the vertex of the angle is on the circle. So here, this one is called an inscribed angle because the vertex is not the center, but it's on the circle. Okay, if it was the center, it'd be called a central angle, and they're the same. This one, however, is half. So let's say this arc from here to here is 40 degrees. So this angle would be half of that, 20. If they give you the angle, you double it to get the arc. If they give you the arc, you take half of it. Okay, that's the formula. So the angle is equal to half of the intercepted arc. This one, the angle is equal to the arc. So these are two formulas that we're learning so far. Write that down, make sure you know. All right, now let's take a look at some problems before I give you your worksheet. Copy this down. Okay, so let's take a look here. Now they want you to find x, so watch how I do this. You see this angle right here? The angle is 100 degrees. It's an inscribed angle, so this arc from here to here is twice that, so that's 200. A whole circle is 360. So to get x from here to here, you would subtract 40 and you would subtract 200. So that's 240, that's 60, and 60. I guess that's 120. Use your calculator. Remember, if you borrow one of my calculators, put them back in that folder on the wall. I'm still missing like 4 calculators. So if you got one at home, bring it to school. Okay? All right, let's go on. Number 2. Take a look at this one here. Here's your inscribed angle right here. This angle right here is inscribed because the vertex is on the circle. So this arc right here is twice, so 2 times that is 120 degrees. So those are pretty easy. Let's keep moving. This one right here, it says find the measure of angle ABC. So put your pencil on the A, go to the B, go to the C. It is an inscribed angle right here. And since this is a quadrilateral, opposite angles add up to 180. So put an X right here. So you're going to say X plus 100 is equal to 180 degrees. Write this down. Opposite angles add up to 180 degrees if it's a quadrilateral. And we went over this before. So that has to be, when you subtract 100, this has to be 80 degrees. Okay? So you subtract 100 and you get X equals 80. Let's take a look at the next one now. Watch this carefully. They want you to find X. Now, on this one right here, draw that diagram, and let me think about this because I think I might be missing something here. Okay, this should have been a diameter. All right, so let's see. Put a dot here. You know that every diameter is equal to 180 degrees because it's half a circle. Now watch how I do this. I double this arc right here, this angle. I'm going to double that. So this arc right here is going to be twice this. So I'm going to put 2 times 5x minus 6, right? Because you got to double this to get the arc. And then this arc right here that I'm going to use a different color with, you see this purple angle? It's an inscribed angle. It's 60. So this arc right here has to be 120. You got to double it, okay? So now we have a diameter, and we know that it adds up to 180. So we're going to say this one plus this one, and I'm going to go ahead and distribute. 2 times 5 is 10x minus 12 is equal to 180 degrees. You combine like terms, and then you solve this, and you'll have your answer. Okay, so notice what I did. It's a diameter, so this arc is 180. It's half a circle. You got to memorize that. I took the 60, it's an inscribed, I doubled it. I took the 5x minus 6 and I doubled it. And then I added those two up and I set it equal to a diameter. All right, they're a little tricky, but here we go. Let's take a look at this one. This one right here, this angle is an inscribed angle, so we're going to double that. So this arc from here to here is going to be 2 times 6x plus 3. Make sure you distribute, okay? Now the whole circle's 360. So you're going to get 2 times 6x. So you're going to get 12x plus 6 plus 60 plus 140 is equal to 360 degrees, and you're going to work that out. And that's pretty much how you do this worksheet for today, okay? So if you get stuck, I want you to ask. Your worksheet for today is right here, okay, and then the back side as well. Now look at what they want you to do here on number 1. Here are the answers, by the way. Now watch number 1 real quick. All right, so let's take a look. It says, if each angle is inscribed, if it is, name the angle and name the intercepted arc. Okay, so here, you see how the vertex is on the circle? So the angle is inscribed, and it would be angle XYW, and the arc would be arc XW. Okay, this one right here is a central angle. That's a no. This one, the vertex is not on the circle. That's a no. This one's a yes. Okay, and then you got to name the angle and name the arc. All right, anyway, good luck. If you need help, I'll help you.